Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! 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 Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and we're about to kick off the first of our final two films starring the lovely and talented Sandra Bullock. Today we're going to take a look at The Proposal, starring Sandra Bullock, Ryan Reynolds, Craig T. Nelson, Mary Steenburgen, and Betty White. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. As I said in the introduction, today we kick off the first of our final two films for this month, starring the lovely and talented Sandra Bullock. Today she's being joined by Ryan Reynolds and others. We're going to take a look at The Proposal. And as our movie opens, we meet Margaret Tate, a Canadian executive editor-in-chief for a New York book publishing company. And due to her pushy personality, she is disliked by her employees. Margaret learns from her superior, Chairman Bergen, that her visa renewal application has been denied due to visa term violation, and as a result, she faces deportation back to Canada. Now then, not wanting to lose her position as well as her life in New York, she blackmails her much abused assistant, Andrew Paxton, into marrying her so that she can obtain a green card. She reminds Andrew that if she gets deported, all of the hard work that he has put in as her assistant will be lost, which will set back his dreams to become an editor himself. Now, U.S. Immigration Agent Gilbertson informs them that he suspects that they are committing fraud in order to avoid Margaret's deportation. Gilbertson then tells them that they will be asked questions about each other separately, and if their answers do not match, Margaret will be deported to Canada permanently, and Andrew will be convicted of a felony which is punishable by a $250,000 fine and 5 years in prison. Andrew insists that Margaret makes him an editor after their marriage and publishes his book that he has been recommending to her, and Margaret is now forced to agree. The couple then travels to Sitka, Alaska, which is Andrew's hometown, in order to meet his family. Margaret meets Andrew's mother, Grace, and his grandmother, Annie, who we effectively call Gammy. During the trip to the family home, Margaret notices that nearly every shop in town carries the name of Paxton, and then learns that Andrew's family is in fact very wealthy. During a welcome home party, Andrew confronts his father, Joe, who is angry about Andrew dating the boss that he has long disliked and believes that he is using her just to get ahead in his career. After their argument, Andrew announces their engagement to everyone, and Andrew and Margaret invent a story of how Andrew proposed. The next day, Grace and Annie take Margaret to a local bar as part of her bachelorette party in order to watch a striptease by locally famous but over-the-hill erotic dancer Ramon. Stepping away from the show, Margaret learns from Andrew's ex, Gertrude, that Andrew wanted to become an editor and make his own life. Margaret also then learns the fact that Andrew had once proposed to Gertrude and she turned him down because she did not want to leave Sitka for New York. Margaret then learns of the conflict between Andrew and Joe. And that evening, Margaret asks Andrew about his relationship with his father, but Andrew refuses to talk. So instead, Margaret begins to open up to him. The next day, the family convinces them to marry while they are there in Sitka, and Margaret begins to realize how close and real Andrew's family is, and this moves her deeply, especially because of the deception. She then gets onto Andrew's boat and speeds away with him, admitting that she has been alone ever since she was 16 years old after her parents died, and she had forgotten what it felt like to have a family. She then lets go of the helm and stumbles to the back of the boat, and when Andrew makes a sharp turn to avoid hitting a buoy, Margaret falls out of the boat. Andrew quickly turns the boat around and saves her because she can't swim. Meanwhile, the suspicious Gilbertson has turned up in Sitka, ready to charge Andrew with fraud. At the wedding, Margaret stops the ceremony by confessing the truth to all the guests, as well as Gilbertson, causing Gilbertson to inform her that she now has 24 hours to leave for Canada. Margaret then returns to the Paxton home in order to pack her things. Andrew rushes to their room only to find that Margaret has already left, leaving his book manuscript with a note of praise as well as a promise to publish it. Gertrude then attempts to comfort Andrew, and she asks him if he's going to go after her. And as he rushes out to find Margaret, another argument ensues between him and his father. Gammy then suddenly shows symptoms of a heart attack, causing her and the family to be airlifted to the nearby hospital, and she convinces them to reconcile before she passes away. After she succeeds in getting things moving once again, she admits to faking the heart attack as it was the only way to get their attention, and she tells the pilot to head to the airport in the hopes of catching up to Margaret. Andrew's parents then finally realize that he does really love Margaret. He returns to New York and tells Margaret that he loves her in front of the entire office staff. After they kiss, they go to Gilbertson and inform him that they are again engaged, but this time for real. Gilbertson questions Andrew's family as well as his friends, which proves it to him as our movie comes to its end. This was another really cute romantic comedy from Sandra Bullock. As we've discussed multiple times this month, this is her bread and butter. This is where she makes a lot of her money. And while I prefer her in roles like Demolition Man and Speed and A Time to Kill and those type of movies, these chick flick rom-coms, that's where her bread is buttered, man. We've looked at co-stars with her like Bill Pullman, Hugh Grant, Keanu Reeves, now Ryan Reynolds. We saw her with Harry Connick Jr. And at the end of the day, I honestly feel, and maybe this is a little bit of a cop-out, but the bigger name draw her co-star in these movies, the better they are. I love Ryan Reynolds. I think he is hilarious. He's a great, sarcastic actor, decent looking, not into guys at all, but he's a good looking guy, quirky, sarcastic, fun. The thing that I enjoyed the most about this, and it's really just a small thing if you pick up on it, Ryan Reynolds is Canadian. Sandra Bullock is American. Sandra Bullock is playing a Canadian. Ryan Reynolds is playing an American. Like, it's so silly, but I got a little bit of a kick out of that because anybody who knows them, like, and their personal life and has done their research on them knows that it's a complete flip flop. So the fact that they're able to pull this off, I just think is hilarious. Again, it's very small, but it's hilarious. Craig T. Nelson, star of the Coach TV series back in the day. I know him best as being Mr. Incredible from The Incredibles. Mary Steenburgen as Ryan Reynolds' mom. We discussed Mary Steenburgen briefly last year when we talked about Back to the Future Part 3. She plays Clara Clayton, Doc Brown's love interest. If you missed that review, we'll go ahead and link it up here for you. Betty freaking White, a treasure of an actress playing Gammy in this. So good, so funny. Again, so sarcastic. Like, you can get how she would be related to Ryan Reynolds with the two of them and their sarcasm. Such great casting. I enjoy this one. While I put movies like Hope Floats and While You Were Sleeping down here, I put this up here where I put like The Lake House and 2 Weeks Notice. And it's simply because of the star power. Ryan Reynolds knocks it out of the park here. When it comes to my rating for this one, I give The Proposal 4 out of 5 stars. Again, the cast, the story, the writing, it's everything you want in a chick flick without it being overly sappy, overly saturated. It's just a fun movie. And again, watching Ryan Reynolds and Betty White play off each other, watching Sandra Bullock and Betty White play off each other, that's worth the price of admission right there and of itself. What do you guys think of The Proposal? Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. And if you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. But let's have that conversation, that discussion, that debate, that interaction that I'm always asking you guys for in the comments below. And make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, as it's time once again to open up the doors for Stat Boys Sports Bar featuring Dory Lou. The food is hot, the beer is ice cold, and the seats are warm, so pull up a bar stool as we continue to engage in the best professional sports conversation with your hosts, Stat Boy Mike Caldwell and Dory Lou. You're not going to want to miss out on that right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel. Brand new episode of Stat Boy Sports Bar featuring Dory Lou for all the best in professional sports talk. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that notification bell is turned on. That way you're alerted every time a video drops right here on the Casa channel or anytime we go live, as is the case with Statboy Sports Bar, Open Mic Night, pay-per-view PLE coverage, etc. Share this video with your family, friends, loved ones, co-workers, movie fanatics, cinephiles in your life. Anybody you can think of that would enjoy my content, my video. Fans of Sandra Bullock, fans of Ryan Reynolds, fans of Craig T. Nelson or Mary Steenburgen or Betty White. Share it with them. It's the only way we're going to boost up my visibility in YouTube's algorithms so I can eventually get monetized and make some money on these endeavors. Thank you once again to everyone who joined me and tuned in today. It means more to me than you will ever know. And I will see you guys next time.